Hey everybody. So for today's movie review, I'm going to talk about the Wes Anderson film Rushmore. It is his second feature film. He did this one right after Bottle Rocket. And as of now, I have seen all of his films as of 2013. And I guess his next film comes out in 2014. It's going to be like about a grand hotel or something like that. Um, in Rushmore, you guys, and I apologize this video is way later on, but I watched this film with the Wolfpack Film Club recently. It's a club that I host. So I don't know when this review is going to actually be uploaded, but um, let's go with the review here. So Rushmore is about the student played by Jason Schwartzman, and this is not my copy either. This is the library copy that we borrowed for the or rented for the film club meeting. Jason Schwartzman plays the student of this Rushmore High School. It's kind of like this private school that kind of looks like a college in some ways, like a university. Um, then we have Bill Murray here. He's kind of like the spokesperson and father of these kids that go to this high school, but it looks like a college, like I said. And then we have this Olivia Williams. I guess she's been in a few other stuff, um, but she's in this one as kind of this like really hot teacher that both Jason Schwartzman and Bill Murray want romantically. Um, but for the most part, it focuses on Jason Schwartzman and kind of how he's the student at this school that is almost basically involved with every club, with every class. He's kind of this guy that's always the head honcho of all these clubs at this school, and the Rushmore High School kind of becomes his life for a while, but all that kind of goes away when he meets this teacher that who has a deceased husband. Her husband's not around anymore. Apparently, he drowned or something like that. And so he starts having the hots for her because they have a lot in common. He helps her out at her classroom area. It's one of those things where I think she kind of secretly liked him, but didn't want to say that because her teaching job would be in jeopardy if people found out about this such a thing. But she did tell him right off the bat. I mean, she said, you know what, you were just way too young for me. It's cool that we're these friends or this, student teacher chemistry, but I mean, she wants to keep, him as this really dedicated student and not turn it into something romantically. And basically, this is when Bill Murray gets involved, and he doesn't have or at least it's not emphasized a lot that he wasn't at one point married, and so it's never quite clear if he's like divorced or if his marriage is coming to an end or if he's cheating on a wife that he already has. But he starts falling for the teacher too when his kids are kind of get connected with the Jason Schwartzman kid, and so he starts having feelings for the teacher, and so basically at first they're doing things to each other to make sure that neither one of them is around while they're trying to make their move on this teacher. And so it's kind of like there's something about Mary in this case where like they're lying to each other, they're trying to put each other in a certain situation so it won't distract them while they're trying to win the heart of this woman and things like that. So basically, Jason Schwartzman's life goes from dedicating his life to these clubs and these classes at the Rushmore School, and he really wants to dedicate his life to this woman. He wants to be her lover, pretty much. And so, obviously he can't and she won't. And, there's a thing with Bill Murray and her going on. And even though, he's closer to her age more so than Jason Schwartzman is, and she's more comfortable being around the Bill Murray character, there's some things she mentions later on in the film that were like, you know what, all these flaws are in him and stuff, and she doesn't like this part of him and this part of him and things like that. So basically, she doesn't like either one of them. She's just kind of living her life, and because she misses the husband so much, she really can't really see herself with anyone else. She just likes him as friends. She doesn't want to do anything further than that. So I guess in that sense, that's what makes this film interesting. Is it's a romance film with no romance in it, or there is romance in it, but it's not the romance you might be thinking of. Um, and so basically, like I said, Jason Schwartzman, he doesn't really dedicate his life to school anymore. He gets in trouble. He's the troublemaker. People don't really, like the dean or the principal of the school doesn't really like him. He gets into trouble with the clubs. So basically, he's in this huge disastrous place, and he doesn't know, basically how to win this woman's heart, because there isn't really a win-win situation for him. He's not going to win this woman's heart. But it's a very good film, you guys. I'm going to get to the positives and negatives because I kind of went on a little bit longer for that part of the video. Um, I would say this is probably in my top. This is for the positives. It's in my top three for the best of Wes Anderson. I really think he really nailed it with this one. Not his number one best movie, but it's definitely in his top three, like I said. Just a lot of things about this film. Definitely his special touch. The premise was great. The casting. You can see why Jason Schwartzman and Bill Murray and Luke Wilson, all those guys kept on coming back for his movie just because this film in itself was just so well done. Um, it's just an instant classic. I mean, you watch it and it immediately becomes an instant classic. It's just one of those movies where you're going to remember it for a long time because there's just so many elements about it that you're not going to forget about. Like I said, the premise is great, and this premise-wise is definitely one of Wes Anderson's better movies. I mean, I think the premise in this film is just so well done. The performances in this are great. I love Jason Schwartzman in this. I love this Olivia Williams as the teacher. Um, yeah, there's a lot of really great performances in this. I really like the writing in this film, specifically with the great writing about the romance and life in this film. So there's a lot of scenes in here where they're talking about romance and life, and just really well written. It's definitely a well written movie. Um, I think this is definitely one of Jason Schwartzman's more signature roles. Now that I've seen him in this movie, it's definitely the film where I can kind of see kind of how he developed as an actor into other movies. But this film, for sure, I'm definitely going to remember him for. He definitely nailed the part in this one. There's a scene in here where there's like a predator-like play at the end of the movie that Jason Schwartzman was a part of when he's trying to move on with his life and realizes that he can't be with this teacher for a relationship. Um, there's this thing with like this Chinese girl going on in this movie, and it's one of those things where she really wants to be with him, but he's thinking about the teacher, and so there's some scenes in this movie that kind of involve that. Um, but yeah, there's this neat like predator like play at the end. You can definitely tell, even for play standards, they put a lot of thought and time and money into it. Um, for negatives, you guys, and actually some of my negatives might surprise some people, but I actually felt Bill Murray was underused in this movie. It's just. Um, and not only was he underused, he just kind of felt a little bit casted to me. It was almost like Wes Anderson liked working with Bill Murray so much that he just couldn't say no to him as far as casting. And he's appeared in all his other films except Bottle Rockets. So, but it just really did not. There's a scene where he's flinging cigarettes into a pool. That's fine, but I would have liked to see more scenes that are kind of like that because it's a very Wes Anderson esque kind of humor with that kind of stuff. And throughout this movie, he's just kind of this unlikable guy that's just, the second person to go after this woman. And I don't know, I just felt like he was underused and they could have gave him more Bill Murray isms to work with in this movie. It isn't as good as Fantastic Mr. Fox. I definitely still think that's one of Wes Anderson's, and that basically is my favorite Wes Anderson movie. But I think next to basically it's Fantastic Mr. Fox for me, Royal Tenenbaums, and then this one. So it's number three. So that's saying something. Um, I also felt this film was too short of an experience. Like I said, I think they could have really benefited from more Bill Murray isms. Give more Bill Murray more goofy things to do in this because he only gets like 2 or 3 laughs in this, maybe 4. And everybody else gets all the rest of the jokes that were used for the story. I would also say this film, it is funny, but it's definitely more entertaining than funny, I thought. But that's a good thing. I mean, entertaining and funny is definitely two things that are very important in a making of a comedy. Um, but I give this film an 8.5 out of 10, you guys. I really did enjoy this one. I definitely felt very good after watching it. It definitely I definitely got the sense that Wes Anderson worked hard on this one, which is always a good thing. So if you haven't seen Rushmore, guys, it was Wes Anderson's second movie. Like I said, I've seen all his stuff to date now, and I'm just waiting for his hotel movie to come out. Um, so yeah, if you haven't seen Rushmore yet, make sure you do. It's definitely a Wes Anderson classic.